Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki Jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Each of these Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 10th chapter is on Raghava Pandit. Even though every chapter talks about different devotees. In fact, if you look at this chapter, first half of this chapter touches on few devotees we'll be discussing today. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he highlights the sweet dealings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with one particular devotee in every chapter. The first 13 chapters of Antya Leela. So this chapter is titled The Chastisement of Junior Haridas. The first verse we recite as part of the standard Mangalacharan. Vandeham Sri Guru Sheyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Zagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport on this one, this particular verse of Mangalacharan. I'll go word by word. Vande Ham, I offer my respectful obeisances. Vande Aham, I offer my respectful obeisances. Sri Guru. And Prabhupada translates that Sri Gurun. Guru is a tattva. Guru is a personality. But Guru Tattva is also there. When we address Srila Prabhupada, it's a personality. But the teacher is also a role. Guru also means a teacher, one who leads by example. So here, Prabhupada translates Guru is given in plural, Sri Gurun, which means not just one personality, but a group of teachers who all fall under that category of spiritual master. That's what it means. And Prabhupada here, he specifically says, unto the spiritual masters, in plural, in Parampara system, beginning from Madhavendra Puri down to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It's important. Whenever we recite these prayers, we have to understand who are we offering our respects to. So when we say Vandeham Sri Guru, it refers to the entire parampara starting from Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we have the 6 Goswamis, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as well as Srila Prabhupada. That's what this Sri Guru means. Vande Aham Sri Guru. He refers to all these personalities. From Madhavendra Puri, in the entire parampara, including Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the way to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters as well. Vandeham Sri Guru, Sri Yuta Padakamalam. And Prabhupada translates that as Vandeham Sri Gurun, Sri Yuta Padakamalam, Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha, Sri Rupam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the opulent. Sri Yuta Padakamalam means the opulent lotus feet. Prabhupada says in one place, devotees, everyone have secret treasure chest, where they keep all the valuables. Devotees are the richest because they have the secret storehouse in which the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna is stored. Prabhupada writes like that in Bhagavatam. So here, Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam. Unto the, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the opulent lotus feet of the spiritual masters and as well as all the devotees, Vaishnavas. Sri Rupam, which is Rupa Goswami. Sa Agrajatam. Sa Agra means, Sa means with, Agra means elder brother. Anuja is younger, like Ramanuja. That is younger. So here Agra refers to elder brother. Sri Rupam Sa Agra Jatam. So we offer our respects to Srila Rupa Goswami Sa Agra Jatam, along with this elder brother, which is Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sa Agra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatha Anvitam, with Raghunath Das Goswami and his associates, which means all the Goswamis. So that's what the second line refers to. Tamsa Jivam. Jivam here refers to Jiva Goswami. So second line specifically addresses all the different Goswamis, especially among the 6 Goswamis: Sri Rupa, Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, Dasa Raghunath. Then third line touches on the Panchatattva. Sa Advaitam, Advaita Acharya. Sa Avadutam. Who is the Supreme Avaduta among Panchatattva? Nityananda Prabhu. He is called as Avaduta. Okay, Sa Advaitam, Sa Avadutam. Parijana Sahitam, which means all their associates, which is associates of Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu and whole Panchatattva. Sa Advaitam, Sa Avadutam, Parijana Sahitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Then finally we go to Vrajabhumi. We started from Vandayaham Sri Guru, from our lotus feet of our spiritual master, Parampara, then Goswamis, then Panchatattva, third line. Each line refers to, first line refers to all the spiritual masters, second line Goswamis, third line refers to Panchatattva, and finally in Vrajalila we are going Sri Radha Krishna Padan, which is unto the lotus feet of the all opulent Sri Krishna and Radharani. Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana, along with their associates, all the Gopas and Gopis. Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Anvitamscha, headed by Lalita and Vishaka. Tamal Krishna Maharaj once asks this question to Srila Prabhupada in a letter, asking him, because we are following in the footsteps of the Goswamis who are Manjaris, should we also worship Gopis? And Prabhupada in the letter, he writes this prayer. And he says, if you simply offer this prayer, it includes everyone. It includes your Diksha Guru and ISKCON's preeminent Diksha Guru Prabhupada, and then all the way unto Madhavendra Puri, all the 6 Goswamis, Panchatattva, then you have Radha Krishna Padan, them also. So simply by offering this one single prayer, we show our respects to everyone. Very powerful prayer. It's a good prayer to memorize if you don't know. But you can go through this translation, or you can take even the Vaishnava songbook. You will see the exact same translation, similar, slight change. But Prabhupada explains about this in one lecture, going through each one of these. You can either go through the Vaishnava songbook, or you can read, this is Antya Lila chapter 2, text 1. And if you read word to word translation, you will see. Prabhupada says, when we offer prayers, it is good, but when we offer prayers, knowing fully the meaning, prayers become more powerful. The more detailed our prayer is, more effective it becomes. The more conscious we are when we offer the prayers, more effective it becomes, more powerful the prayer also becomes, which means we can expect some reciprocation also from the Lord. But if we do parachanting, that is okay. It will bring its effect, not at the fullest effect. So Prabhupada says we need to be conscious whenever we read, whenever we offer prayers, whenever we chant Hare Krishna. We need to, it's the nature of the mind. Krishna says, yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatas tato nemetad atmani avavasham nayat. Whenever and wherever the mind actually wanders, we are supposed to catch that mind and bring it back. And we'll always find ourselves, our mind wandering here and there, especially when you sit for japa. You will get all the brilliant ideas. You will have the best plans. Things which you planned originally to spend some time to ponder on. You will get all those thoughts. Devamrita Maharaj says in one class, when you sit for japa, that's when the mind tells you everything else in the world is important. It will tell you that, like, finish it off because you have other important things to do. But actually, the end game of all our sadhana, everything, Indradhanu Maharaj says in one place, he says that, at some point in our life, our body will give up. We may not be able to even walk. We may not be even able to sit down in one place. So that's why we are advised to cultivate this habit of sitting in one place and chanting. Many times, because of restless mind, we will think, I will do japa walk and chant, but that's a sign of restless mind. Some devotees may not be able to sit down because, you may have knee problem, but you can try your best. At least sit on a chair. Sit in one place steady and try to focus that, because we are going to need that skill. Sooner we master, better. When I heard Maharaj say that, I thought, I heard it when I was 30. I thought, okay, let me try now. Better late than never. First 3 weeks, I tell you, it was like boot camp. Now I got used to it. 10, 12 years from then. So, sooner we actually put that effort to sit in one place and chant, because Maharaj says at some point everything will give up. We cannot even walk. Mind will be restless, but you cannot walk. But then to try to train the mind to focus on the holy name gets even more difficult. Okay, genuinely sometimes you may feel sleepy, at that time we can walk. But if we keep walking as part of our regular japa, almost always the quality of japa gets compromised. Especially if you go out for a walk. Japa walk is good, but it's good to keep that after 16 rounds. In extreme cases, yes. It's not a mandatory rule, but we have to be honest with ourselves. When do we get the best quality japa? And we have to make plan. That's the devotee lifestyle. We have to make plan to give the best 2 hours to Krishna every day. That includes sleeping on time the previous night. That includes the diet which you follow for the previous evening. I know some devotees, they don't eat anything. They don't take even milk after sunset. I find that little extreme. Not little extreme for me, for my mind. That is a good standard actually. I know devotees who don't even drink water. But if you cut down at least to taking grain food, you can take milk, something very light after sunset before going to bed. It's also good to give some gap between the time you take the final meal to the time you go to bed. When you wake up in the morning, you'll wake up fresh. Have you got that experience sometime? Especially on daylight saving day, everyone will wake up fresh. That's the best quality japa. Even without you realizing, you will get 1 extra hour sleep. I've noticed that day. You will wake up and you will look at the clock and you'll feel very happy. Wow. And then you realize there's nothing for your credit. It's actually daylight saving. That's why you get the extra sleep. But it will also help you. The day after Ekadashi, on Dwadasi morning, you can clearly feel waking up becomes easy. How many of you have that experience? Realize that. Becomes easy when you don't take grains for one day before. So, we need to make plans. We don't need to make plans to make millions of dollars. We don't need to make plans to conquer the world. We don't need to make any other major materialistic plan. Of course, for Krishna, why million? We should think about trillions. We can make plan for Gopinath. But as a personal goal, at least this much we should keep in our devotional life. How Prabhupada says 90% of our progress in Krishna consciousness depends on the quality of our japa, 16 rounds. Sometimes you will hear even lofty thoughts being shared. It doesn't matter the quality of your first 16 rounds. What matters is the quality of your 17th round onwards, like that you will hear. I heard one Radhanath Maharaj's class, and one devotee gives like this in one class in Chowpatty. Radhanath Maharaj comes the next day. Maharaj sits and hears the class. He was somewhere else, and then he comes next day to give the class, and he acknowledges this devotee, saying, "You gave a wonderful class yesterday. But there is one point in that which I disagree." And Maharaj says, "You said it doesn't matter how you chant the 16 rounds. What matters is how you chant from 17th round onwards." Then Maharaj said, "Actually 16 rounds are important. 17th round is also important. And Maharaj said, in fact, if you have to find out what is more important, first 16 rounds or the 17th round, then Maharaj says, actually first 16 rounds are even more important, because that's what we promised to our Guru. So Prabhupada says, of all the different instructions which the spiritual master gives, the most important instruction is to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day. So we have to put the best quality effort, because that's what's gonna count for 90% of our progress. 90%. So we have to work smart also in Krishna consciousness. So we need to keep japa as the priority, which means we have to sleep properly, we have to maintain our consciousness properly. Reading Krishna book always helps the previous night, because even according to modern education, whatever you read before going to sleep, they say it has an effect on one's consciousness during sleep also. There are more chances for you to get the same thing in your dream. There are more chances for you to remember that as soon as you rise from the bed the next day morning. So that's why Prabhupada recommended reading Krishna book. You will see Krishna in your dreams one day, like that. So it's important. So these prayers and anything that we do in Krishna consciousness, we have to be fully conscious. At least we should start with the japa. If we do that, from that comes everything else. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says, early in the morning when we recite Bahujanma Karyadi Shravana Kirtanam, there are 10 offenses we recite. And finally we say it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. It's like the unofficial 11th offense. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, actually, all the 10 offenses stems from this one single offense, inattentiveness during chanting, being inattentive while chanting. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if you fix this one trouble, which is being inattentive while chanting, you can fix all the other 10 offenses automatically. Very interesting point. Even though we say it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting, as if inattentive chanting is just an offense as an afterthought. It's not like that. All the other offenses comes from this one single offense. So we need to prepare our mind, we need to prepare our consciousness before we pick up our beads. So it's important that we remember to consciously follow this process. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Krishna descended to deliver all the living beings in the three worlds, from Brahmaloka down to Patala Loka. He caused their deliverance in three ways. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, there are three ways how, whenever we talk about Supreme Lord appearing in this world, he appears in this world in three ways. First is called Sakshat Darshana, when he directly comes down. Second is Avesha, when he empowers someone. And third is Avirbhava, when he actually appears. He may be in one place performing pastime, but he just, on a special mission, he appears somewhere else. So these are the three ways Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, and he'll give examples for this. Sakshat Darshana Ara Yogya Bhakta Jive Avesha Karaya Kahan Avirbhave. The Lord delivered the fallen souls in some places by meeting them directly, in other places by empowering a pure devotee, and in still other places by appearing before someone himself. So the first one, meeting directly. You will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even when he visited South India, for example, for 6 years, he went there and he gave his Sangha, association, directly to everyone. So that is called Sakshat Darshana. Sakshat means the very same Supreme Lord they get to see. So that is Sakshat Darshana. That's one way of appearing. Second way of appearing is, he says, in other places by empowering a pure devotee. That's called Avesha, like Sakti Avesha Avatar. So here Avesha means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would actually enter into someone's body. And there is a pastime there with Nakul Brahmachari, it's given. One day Nakul Brahmachari, he starts to manifest symptoms, very uncommon symptoms of being in pure love of Godhead. So everyone was very astonished. He is a pure devotee, everyone knew, but the Ashtavikara Bhav, the ecstatic symptoms he was demonstrating was something which was unheard of. Nobody had seen him doing it before, exhibiting that before. So then everyone surround him, and at that time Shivananda Sena, who is a personal associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes there and he comes to hear that he is very ecstatic, looks like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had entered him. But then Sivananda Sena, he avoids the crowd, he sits far away. And he thinks, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is indeed inside him, let him first call me. And second, let him also identify what mantra, what Gaura Gopal mantra I am chanting within my heart now. We all have that doubt, right? If somebody says, I am Supreme Lord, okay, tell me what I am thinking now. So Sivananda Sena is thinking this way and he is sitting so far away, and there is like hundreds of people surrounding Nakul Brahmachari. He sits there, and then Nakul Brahmachari calls, "Oh Shivananda Sena, come in front of me." And then everyone looks at each other and they ask, "Who's Shivananda Sena?" And then few people, they go around yelling the name, "Shivananda Sen, Shivananda Sen. Is there anyone here by that name?" And finally they come to Shivananda Sen. "Are you Shivananda Sen?" He says, "Yes." "Come." Nakul Brahmachari is calling, so they bring him. So he comes in front, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inside Nakul Brahmachari, he tells him, "You are chanting the 4-syllable Gauranga mantra." And then Shivananda Sen falls flat. Approving that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had indeed appeared through him. So this is called Avesha. And third is Avirbhava. There are 4 places especially where it's mentioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would appear, even though he may be in Puri, but every single day he will go to these 4 places which are far away from his home. 2 places related to Kirtan and 2 places related to Bhoga offering. Whenever Sachi Mata cooks Bhoga in Navadvip Dham and she offers in front of her altar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would personally come down and he would honor the Bhoga. In fact, Sachi Mata would be sitting here offering prayers, and then after some time when she sees all the plate, everything empty, she would think that she is hallucinating, that I thought Nimai is here, but looks like I just came and offered just empty plates and empty bowls. Then she would just take it, serve again, and again she will bring, thinking that she hasn't served yet, and that she offered Krishna empty plates and bowls by mistake. But actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself comes down and eats. And this message, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself sends through one of his confidential devotees to tell to Sachi Mata, every single day I am coming and eating. And just to convince Sachi Mata that it's not some designs of her mind that makes her think this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in fact sends the list of items which she cooked the previous day. In fact, on one particular occasion. So then she gets convinced, yes, my son Nimai himself is actually coming. Raghava Pandit, we'll discuss about that in 10th chapter. Whenever Raghava Pandit actually cooks, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come and personally accept the offering. Whenever, wherever Nityananda Prabhu sings and dances Kirtan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself will appear. And Nityananda Prabhu can be in some corner in Bengal, Orissa, wherever. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would appear and dance with him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot stay away from the place where Nitai is dancing. So that's the 3rd place. 4th place is whenever there is Kirtan in Srivasangan. Wherever Srivas Thakur is, and whenever Srivas Thakur sings, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also appear there and he would dance. But in this particular chapter, we will see an example of Narasimhananda Brahmachari. As his name implies, he was a very ardent devotee of Lord Narasimhadev. Of course, he is a personal associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So one day he cooks, and in his altar he has three principal deities: Lord Jagannath, Lord Caitanya, and Lord Nrsimhadev. So every day he would make the preparations and make three separate bhoga offering plates, and he would come and offer in front of the three deities, and he would offer prayer. So one day he prepares. Shivananda Sen is there in this pastime also. Shivananda Sen is waiting in his home in another room. He comes in front of the altar, offers three separate plates, one for Jagannath, one for Nrsimhadev, and one for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is reciting Namo Brahmane Devaya Guruvane Hitaya. He is ringing the bell. Suddenly Shivananda Sen could hear Narasimhananda in ecstasy. He is speaking in a very loud voice in ecstasy. Oh Lord Chaitanya, you have taken all the three offering. Now what can I actually offer to my worshipable Lord Nrsimhadev? Of course, you and Jagannath are same. So even if you had just taken Jagannath's plate, it's okay. Because both of you are same personality, you can take it. But what about Nrsimhadev? Because Nrsimhadev is not Krishna. Now, because I am an ardent servant of Lord Nrsimhadev, because we have taken it, the master fasts and so will the servant. Now, even though it looks like he's scolding, he is actually saying that in ecstasy. So then Shivananda Sen, when he looks at this, he couldn't understand, what to make out of, what is happening here. And true to what Nrsimhananda Brahmachari is saying, he could see all empty plates. And Nrsimhananda is telling in ecstatic voice to Shivananda Sen that Chaitanya had come and Lord Chaitanya has come and taken all the offerings. And 1 year later, next time when Shivananda Sen meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself unilaterally tells Shivananda Sen that Nrsimhananda Brahmachari, what a nice offering he makes. I can't taste enough of his bhakti when I accept the offering. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeds to repeat exactly what Nrsimhananda had told Shivananda Sen. In fact, once the bhoga which he offered was so much imbued with love, I ended up taking all the three offering. So this is Avirbhava, one example. In Rajapur Jagannath temple in Simanta Dvipa, in Mayapur, if you go, they have Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, very beautiful deities. They are very big and you can go very, very close. When you go there, you will feel a very imposing presence of their lords. When they open the door, temple is small, so you would expect deities should be proportionately small, but when they open, you will see is big eyes. Very, very beautiful. And you can go very, very close. You can never miss the vision of the Lord. You go even to that corner, you will still see the Lord looking at you. Kripa Kataksha. So, there is a similar pastime there. So, initially they bring Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Maharani. They worship, and after some time they bring Giriraj Shila. So then Pujari goes and offers two separate offerings. One for Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and one for Giriraj. The first day when Giriraj comes, they make separate offerings, and Pujari continues with the service, does the arati, afternoon arati. After that he puts the Lord to rest and he goes for an afternoon nap. In the afternoon nap, Jagannath comes and he tells the Pujari in his dream, this Giriraj, he is eating the prasad, both the prasad actually. Initially they would offer in one single plate. The very first day they were offering in one single plate. And Jagannath was complaining to the Pujari that this Giriraj is starting to eat even before you finish the mantra. Do something about it. He is not letting anything for us like that. So Prabhupada says, deities also sometimes fight with each other. It's called Prema Kalha, it's given. Sweet love fight between the deities also. So you will come across pastimes like that. Even Sakshi Gopal, for example, you will come across deities. Sometimes they'll bring deities together and then they'll separate because of Prema Kalaha. So in this instance, then The Pujari calls my Guru Maharaj and he says, Guru Maharaj, this is what the Lord told me in the dream. Then my Guru Maharaj says, well, you need to offer separate. And you tell Giriraj to take only his boga, not to touch Jagannath's boga. So next day onwards, next offering onwards, they start at separate plate. And the Pujari tells Giriraj, Giriraj, this is only, you can take only this, don't touch this one. So here you will see similar pastime there. So these are three different types of appearances. Sakshat Darshana, where Supreme Lord himself goes and gives mercy, being personally present. Avesha, where he empowers another devotee, like Nakul Brahmachari. Or Avirbhava, where he goes and appears, like in home of Sachimata, Raghav Pandit, where Nityananda Prabhu dances, Srivas Thakur dances. And in this special instance, where Narasimhananda Brahmachari was actually cooking and offering boga. So this section deals with these sweet dealings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his devotees. I'll read some of the verses, texts. This is Antya Lila chapter 2, texts 5 to 6. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered almost all the fallen souls by directly meeting them. He delivered others by entering the bodies of great devotees, such as Nakul Brahmachari. And he delivered still others by appearing before them, as in the case of Narasimhananda Brahmachari. I shall deliver the fallen souls. This statement characterizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally present, anyone in the world who met him even once was fully satisfied and became spiritually advanced. Same is true. Whoever who comes in front of Radha Gopinath just even once becomes spiritually advanced. Shakrideva prapanyat tavasmi iti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamyatat vratam mama. If this is Lord Ramachandra's promise. If somebody comes in front of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath and say, my Lord, from today onwards I am yours, even as a joke, then Supreme Lord says, dadamyatat vratam mama. Shakrideva prapanya. Shakrid means at least once, even once. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. It is my vow. Dadamyatat vratam mama. It is my vow to give protection to such a devotee eternally. When Supreme Lord makes a vow to protect his devotee, he will keep it. 100% track record. You read Ramayana, Mahabharata, any Purana, any record, you will see. So, I shall deliver the fallen souls. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally present, anybody who saw him, they become spiritually advanced. So whenever we come in front of Sri Shri Radha Gopinath, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, Sri Shri Gaur Nitai, we need to remember this. Remember how we started today's class? How I quoted Prabhupada that anything that you do, if you do it in full consciousness, then you will take the maximum benefit out of it. So when you come in front of Radha Gopinath, and remember this point, just by coming in front, I am getting spiritually charged. I am making spiritual advancement. My problems are going away. My miseries are getting dried up. When we are taking darshan of their lordships, Sri Shri Radha Gopinath, in that consciousness, it will have effect. But if we just come in front, take a quick look and you keep moving, will we take benefit? Yes, but not the full benefit. Consciousness matters in everything. Every year, devotees from Bengal would go to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after meeting, they would return to Bengal. Similarly, people who went to Jagannath Puri from various provinces of India were fully satisfied after seeing the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. People from all over the universe, including the 7 islands, Jambudvip, Lakshadvip, Shalmalidvip, Kushadvip, Kraunchadvip, Pushkaradvip, all of them. So people from all the 7 islands of Bhumandala and the 9 Kandas of Jambudvipa, the planets of the demigods, Gandharva Loka and Kinnara Loka, would go there in the form of human beings. Why? To take darshan of lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In our temple also, they would be here taking darshan of Radha Gopinath. We cannot see them, but they take darshan everywhere. Prabhupada says within Bharatavarsha there are 9 Kandas. There are Aindra, Kasheru, Tamraparna, Gabatismat, Kumarika, Naga, Shaumya, Varuna and Gandharva. This is 9 islands, 9 kandas in Bharatavarsha. Having seen the Lord, they all became Vaishnavas. Thus, in ecstatic love of Godhead, they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and danced. All the 7 islands of Bhumandala, people come from the 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa, of which the southernmost one is Bharatavarsha. They come from 9 different kandas. Bharata Kanda is one of them. So people come from all the Dvipa, Varsha and Kanda to take darshan of the Supreme Lord. Having seen the Lord, they all became Vaishnavas simply by taking darshan. Thus, in ecstatic love of Godhead, they chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and danced. Thus, by direct meetings, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the 3 worlds. Some people, however, were entangled in material activities and could not go. So even though Supreme Lord was there, and people can just go and take darshan, just like even you can take Sydney. How many people are in Sydney? 4 million, 4.5 million? How many people have come and taken darshan of Radha Gopinath? Very few. If you look at in totality, compared to the total population, very few. Same way. Why? Because of entanglement. Everyone knows Gopinath is here. Some may not know. Or most people may not know. So that makes it all the more important why we should reach out to people and give mercy in the form of book distribution, in the form of prasad, in the form of holy name. Somehow or other we should spread the message so everyone can become happy. Everyone can become relieved of pangs of material miseries. To deliver people, but some people couldn't go. So how did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reach out to them? To deliver people in regions throughout the universe who could not meet him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally entered the bodies of pure devotees. He gave his Shakti. Prabhupada is Senapati Bhakta of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada is also Shakti Avaishavatar. Prabhupada is also carrying Gaura Shakti. So like that, through pure devotees also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is appearing. Thus he empowered living beings, his pure devotees, by manifesting in them so much of his own devotion that people in all other countries became devotees by seeing them. Even if you hear memories, some interviews of Srila Prabhupada, you can watch, you will find heaps in YouTube. You will see the disciples even in the prime of their youth, some in teens, late teens, mid-teens, some in early 20s. When they saw Prabhupada, what impact it had on them. Almost everyone would say, Prabhupada, when he looked at me, I could see that he is looking through my layers and layers of anarthas and looking at my soul. You will hear that. Many people say that. Many would say Prabhupada was not walking, he was floating. And everything Prabhupada did fascinated them. There is one instance, one devotee was actually sharing this pastime. In India, in one home program, Prabhupada was there, and Prabhupada was actually they were giving fruits, orange, and Prabhupada could actually eat, but he could spit the seed to land straight in the bin straight away, without even missing once. Bhavananda Prabhu here, he was actually sharing with us. First time when they saw Prabhupada was actually picking up glass of water and he was drinking without even spilling a drop, but without touching the lip. And everyone was like, wow, they would look at each other. Everything which Prabhupada did, fascinated. Through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pure devotion, through Prabhupada's pure devotion, he could manifest the mercy that way. So everything, in some places, when Prabhupada was actually going in the park, there was one security guy who was tapping on one of the devotees' shoulder and he's saying, look at him, that man, he's glowing, like that. Even if you look at the videos, you can actually see the shine in Prabhupada's vapu, in his body. So, thus he empowered living beings, his pure devotees, by manifesting in them so much of his own devotion that people in all other countries became devotees by seeing them. tirti kurvanti tirtani swantastena gadabrita. Bhagavad-vida Bhagavatas tirtabhuta swayam vibhos tirti kurvanti tirtani swantastena gadabrita. It's mentioned, this is by Yudhishthir Maharaj. When he glorifies Vidura, he says, pure devotees like yourself, wherever they go, they carry Tirtha, the place of pilgrimage. Why? Because within the core of their heart, they carry Radha Gopinath with them. So wherever Supreme Lord goes, that becomes a Tirtha. Wherever pure devotees go, they don't go alone. Who do they go with? Radha Gopinath in their heart. So wherever they go, that place also becomes Tirtha. Tirti kurvanti tirtani. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the entire three worlds not only by his personal presence but also by empowering others. So first is Sakshat Darshana, second is Avesha. I shall briefly describe how he empowered a living being in Bengal. Now he is proceeding to narrate about the pastime of Nakula Brahmachari. In Ambuya Mulaka, there was a person named Nakula Brahmachari who was a perfectly pure devotee, greatly advanced in devotional service. Desiring to deliver all people of Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the heart of Nakula Brahmachari. Nakula Brahmachari became exactly like a man haunted by a ghost. Thus he sometimes laughed, sometimes cried, sometimes danced, and sometimes chanted like a madman. He continuously exhibited bodily transformations of transcendental love. Thus he cried, trembled, became stunned, perspired, danced in love of Godhead, and made sounds like those of a cloud. His body shone with the same luster as that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he showed the same absorption in ecstatic love of Godhead. People, which means he's showing symptoms of even Mahabhav. People came from all the provinces of Bengal to see these symptoms. So it's not a one-day affair or one-time affair. This is like a Nitya Utsava. Eternally it's going on. Everyone is flocking just to take darshan of him. He advised whomever he met to chant the holy names, Hare Krishna. Yare deki tare kahe kaha Krishna nama. Tanara darshane loka haye premodhama. Thus upon seeing him, people were overwhelmed with the love of Godhead simply by looking at him. And you will see, I was hearing one devotee's memories of Prabhupada, and he was saying, he was from a scholarly background, someone who has studied English literature, and he was saying as part of his coursework, he had to study, the books written by different famous authors, and he's supposed to write a report, what he actually observed, the style of writing, so on and so forth. And he says, during the course of his scholarly pursuits, he had come across many instances where when he reads a book and he hasn't seen the author yet, based on the words, he would make a certain impression, an expectation about how the author will be. He'll make a guesswork. Okay, this is how the author is saying. Based on this, he would create an image of the author. But in some instances, he got the opportunity to actually meet the author in person. Of some of those books he has actually read, the authors of those books, he later comes to meet, and he says, in every single instance, he would get disappointed. Because there will always be a gap between their thoughts and how they conduct themselves. There will always be a gap. But he says, before meeting Prabhupada, he has read Prabhupada's books. And he says, and when I saw Prabhupada, I found myself crying. And he says, when I saw Prabhupada, I could see he's exactly like his book. There was no gap between the personality Prabhupada and book Prabhupada. So here, he advised whomever he met to chant the holy names, Hare Krishna. Thus upon seeing him, people were overwhelmed with love of God. Simply by seeing Prabhupada, devotees felt touched. In one place, Prabhupada is saying to his disciples in a morning walk, you see, I'm almost 80, Prabhupada is saying. And you are all in your 20s. Have you got any experience of relationship, friendship between an old man and so many young people? And everyone looked at Prabhupada and they said, no, Prabhupada, this is the proof that our relationship is eternal. Because in normal material circumstance, nobody will die for Prabhupada. Nobody will die for an old man. If you think about it, this is Prabhupada's point. Generally, youngsters will be too busy in merrymaking. Nobody would be interested in what an old man says. But Prabhupada says, this is the proof. Ours is a spiritual relationship and ours is an eternal relationship. And then Prabhupada continues, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada just walks. When Sivananda Sena, this is Antya Leela chapter 2, text 22. When Sivananda Sena heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had entered the body of Nakula Brahmachari, he went there with doubts in his mind. Desiring to test the authenticity of Nakula Brahmachari, he stayed outside thinking as follows. If Nakula Brahmachari personally calls me and knows my worshipable mantra, then I shall understand that he is inspired by the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking in this way, he stayed some distance apart. You will see similar mood being exhibited by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Even though Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he appeared in Navadvip Dham as Brahaspati, he is taking this role of studying different literatures that come under Jnanakanda. He felt, just reading this, I am feeling very dry. So I don't want to be here anymore, just perceiving this. I will give up this and I will go take shelter of Purushottam Kshetra. Yes, I know the Supreme Lord, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will appear in Navadvip. But if I am his eternal devotee, I will get to meet the Lord. The Supreme Lord will appear in front of me. He was very confident with that. Thinking this way, he left in Navadvip and that's how he goes to Puri and he settles there. And true to his conviction, of course he is an eternal devotee of the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and gives him darshan later. So here also you can see Sivananda Sena, he is also exhibiting similar mood. He is saying, hear this carefully, if Nakula Brahmachari personally calls me and knows my worshipable mantra, then I shall understand that he is inspired by the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking in this way, he stayed some distance apart. Text 27. In his inspired state, Nakula Brahmachari said, Sivananda Sena is staying some distance away. 2 or 4 of you go call him. So, among the people in the crowd, he is ordering them. 2 or 4 of you go and call him. There is someone, Shivananda, there is someone by name Shivananda Sena, call him, bring him here. There was a large crowd of people, some coming and some going. Indeed, some people in that great crowd could not even see Nakula Brahmachari. In his inspired state, Nakula Brahmachari said, Sivananda Sena is staying some distance away. 2 or 4 of you go call him. Thus people began running here and there, calling in all directions. Sivananda, whoever is Sivananda, please come. Nakula Brahmachari is calling you. Hearing these calls, Sivananda Sena quickly went there, offered obeisances to Nakula Brahmachari and sat down near him. Nakula Brahmachari said, I know that you are doubtful. Now please hear this evidence with great attention. Gaura Gopala mantra tomara chari akshara avishvasha chada e kariya chantara. You are chanting the Gaura Gopala mantra composed of 4 syllables. So for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there is Gaura mantra and there is Gaura Gopala mantra. Gaura mantra is 4 syllable mantra. Gaura Anga, 4 syllable. Gaura Gopala is Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna. Now Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. So that's his commentary on Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. Worshippers of Sri Gaura Sundara accept the 4 syllables Gaura Anga as the Gaura mantra, but pure worshippers of Radha and Krishna accept the 4 syllables Radha Krishna as Gaura Gopala mantra. However, Vaishnavas consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu non-different from Radha Krishna, which means whether you chant Gaura Anga or Radha Krishna, same. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. They both are same. When they are together as one personality, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the same Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he separates for enjoyment, for pleasure, then he becomes Radha Krishna. However, Vaishnavas consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu non-different from Radha Krishna. Therefore, one who chants the mantra Gauranga and one who chants the name of Radha and Krishna are on the same level. Sivananda Sena thereupon developed full confidence in his mind that Nakula Brahmachari was filled with the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sivananda Sena then offered him respect and devotional service. In this way, one should understand the inconceivable potencies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now please hear how his appearance, Avirbhava, takes place. We have another 5 minutes. I'll narrate one other pastime, not exactly related to this. But somewhat connected. So today we saw Avesha. In Vrindavan, there is a forest by name Bahulavan. So one day, a cow, after giving birth to a baby calf, she was wandering there, and a lion catches the cow, and when the lion was about to devour, at the time the cow pleads for mercy, begging the lion, saying, I just gave birth to a baby calf. I haven't even fed the baby yet. And Prabhupada says, whenever a cow gives birth to a calf, the first few days milk, that's not for human consumption. That is supposed to be given fully for the calf. It's not good for humans. It's not for human consumption, Prabhupada says. Because Prabhupada says the first few days milk, if the calf takes, that is enough for the calf to get the full vigor. So the cow is actually pleading. The mother cow is pleading. The lion, if you just let me go so that I can feed my baby calf just once, I will come back. Then the lion, somehow Sattvic lion, generally it's mentioned if we are in human body and if we are Sattvic, according to Shastras, in our previous life we were cows. If we are passionate in the previous life, Prabhupada says, we were lion or tigers. If we are ignorant, tamasic, take a guess what our previous life was like? Monkey. So Prabhupada says, if you are tamasic, very lethargic, then Prabhupada says, in all likelihood, in previous life, we were monkeys. But here, even though it's a lion is very sattvic. He says, all right, go. So the mother cow goes, feeds the baby calf, and when the calf is taking the milk, the mother cow cries, because that's the last time she's going to see the calf. So when the calf asks, then the mother tells the promise she made to the lion, and that she has to go. Then the calf says, no, I want to go with you. How can I get separated? Just now I'm born and I know you just now. You better stay here, I can go and become the food for the lion. Then the mother says, no, you cannot go. I only promised I will go. But then baby calf says, no, I want to go. When the cowherd boy, when he hears the conversation between the calf and the cow, the cowherd boy says, no, it's my job. I am supposed to protect both of you. You stay here, I will go. Then the mother cow says, no, I will go. Baby calf says, no, I will go. Then they had this argument, and finally all three ended up going. And then the lion, it's waiting very patiently. Initially the cow comes, the lion gets happy, then he sees calf, lion gets more happy, wow, I'm getting more now. Then he sees a cowherd boy, he says like, fantastic, I'll let go one and now I'm getting 3 in return. But then the same argument continues amongst all 3 of them in front of the lion. So when the lion says, all right, are you ready? Then the cow says like, yes. And the baby calf comes in front of the cow and he says like, no, take me. And the lion's heart gets melted. And then the cowherd boy comes in front of the calf, in front of the lion. He says like, no, take me. Then the lion is put in a predicament and finally the lion decides, all right, all 3 get lost. Go away. I don't want any of you. This pastime happened in Bahulavan. So how does the lion has a change of heart? The lion along with the cow, calf and the cowherd boy, they hear the flute sound of Krishna. Krishna appears there. And when everyone sees Krishna, everyone becomes very happy. So the lion becomes very sattvic. And then he says like, okay, I won't eat any of you, you can go. But then Krishna at that time, he reveals who they were in the previous lives. In Swargaloka, one day, Pippalayana Rishi, he comes with Narada Muni to the assembly of demigods. At that time, there is a dance performance that was going on, singing performance was going on by Gandharvas. And there were 2 Gandharvas by name Huhu and Haha. That's the name. H-U, H-U, H-A, H-A. Huhu and Haha. So they were doing performance and they were dancing, singing. Pippalayana Rishi, when he walks in, he sees that they breached the etiquette. They were supposed to offer respects to him, but they didn't. Thinking this way, he curses them. You both become animals. Then both the Gandharvas stop their performance and they come in front of Pippalayana Rishi and they say, oh great sage, why did you curse us unnecessarily? Then the sage says, I am here with Narada Muni, we are saintly people, why didn't you stop and show respect? Then Huhu and Haha tell Pippalayana Rishi, my dear sage, you sit in meditation and you see what was going on in our heart when we saw you entering into this assembly. So then Pippalayana Rishi sits in meditation and he says, as he was walking in, these Gandharva dances were so experts, despite them singing and dancing, simultaneously in their heart they were doing Dandavats Pranam. Ashtanga Namaskar to both of the sages, which is Pippalayana Rishi and Narada Muni. Now Pippalayana Rishi becomes very ridden with guilt, filled with guilt. My God, I have cursed them unnecessarily. He says, anyway, words that I have left one's mouth and the arrow that has left the bow cannot be retracted back. So you both are cursed, so you both will become animal. Among Huhu and Haha, Haha becomes the crocodile in Gajendra Lila. He is the crocodile that chewed the legs of Gajendra and later gets liberated. Gajendra was King Indradumna. Huhu becomes the lion in this pastime.